some young core rankings and just talking about basketball. It's kind of a dead period right now, so let's have some
True.
fun. Marvin, do you want to start us off with your number five? We're doing top five young cores.
Top five young cores. Yeah, I was about to ask. So you want to start with number five?
Let's do it.
This is tough, but at the end of the day, I end up putting the Utah Jazz at number five.
Mm,
Um, it could be
okay.
a bit debatable. I'm gonna count Laurie Markkinen as a younger guy in this too. So with that, you have Markkinen, you have Kessler, and then you have Taylor Hendricks and Keontae George who came in too. You still have Talon Horton Tucker. Um, you
Okay.
got you got plenty of young guys. What'd you say?
Oh,
I'm
he
back.
said
Oh yeah, that's true. You have Ochai too.
if you count
So I
Collins was young still. I don't know.
and even their head coach is young, at least for coaching and new too. So I think they're very uh they have a very good young core in the sense of players. They also signed Romeo Langford today actually as well. But I think they're pretty good with their rebuild, if that's what you want to call it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so they didn't make my top five. But the thing about Utah, um, so they're very, I mean, so they have tons of picks, tons of young assets. But they're kind of in like the middle ground. I don't think they're I don't think they're good enough to compete. I don't think they're bad enough to bottom out. Um, so I mean, it's raised questions of whether or not they should, fully commit to a rebuild, trade marketing, go all in on the draft. Kind of just tear everything down, build around Keontae George, Hendricks, etc. Um, you guys think they should stay the course or do something like that?
I think they should stay the course because I forgot too, but they have Collins, who's John Collins, who's pretty young too. Still got Sexton as well. I think they honestly have a pretty talented young core. I think it's better and easier for them to just keep riding that and maybe like make some trades here and there or whatever, like smaller ones. But I mean, it's kind of hard to go into a rebuild with what they have right now anyway, just because, like I said, they have so many young guys anyways. Like you're only going to be able to do so much with like trying to rebuild with that.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to make kind of tricky to rebuild.
I don't know. I think, you know, I mean, so like obviously, in my opinion, I think they should go all in on the rebuild. I don't know if any young guy on their team, unless Keontae George, what he flashed in the summer league is legit. I don't know if any of them are good enough to be like the guy. And at that point, you don't want to be stuck in purgatory like you just were with Donovan Mitchell and Gobert. Um, So I think offloading Markkinen for tons of picks, some solid young assets, um, build around Kessler, Keontae George, maybe offload Collins. I mean, well, maybe keep Collins just to kind of rehabilitate his career, but that's just my thoughts.
It's fair.
Yeah.
If you want to go to your next team, unless Valentine has something to say,
I have Jazz at five too. So
How you doing?
sir.
yeah, I don't know. They're just solid, I think, in every position
Mhm.
at young players now. And it's just
Yeah,
they're ready.
I'm with you. I mean, they're definitely a solid core. They're just not my top five in my book, but
But
um,
I'm interested who is them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Generally, my top five, it has at least one player that I think could be a franchise changer. And for the Jazz, I just don't see that. But that my number five, I got the Houston Rockets.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, it is kind of low, but like I said, um, generally I like to have a guy that can be a franchise changer. I don't see a whole lot of that in the Rockets. I see like Jalen Green. He's got off to a rocky start. I think he'll improve. I think he could be a Zach LaVine type
yeah.
prolific scorer. Şengün is looking really good. Am-
Yeah.
Amin Thompson was a good addition. They got an elite defender in Dylan Brooks. All of that.
Yeah.
we had a big debate for context about whether or not Dylan Brooks was an elite defender.
And
Um,
we'll probably try to get that in here at some point too.
yeah, yeah, hopefully. I won the debate, but
Okay.
so yeah, they don't, but they don't have one guy that I think could really elevate a franchise to. So they got my number five spot. But I mean, Amin Thompson could easily be that guy. Um,
True.
uh, who knows, Şengün? Maybe he's the second coming of Jokic.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then they
Jabari.
have a
Cam
I forgot to
Whitmore.
mention Jabari Smith.
yeah, I was about to say they have Jabari Smith,
Cam
Tim.
Whitmore.
Cam Whitmore, and they also have Kevin Porter Jr. still. So
They have a really deep young core. Um, they have a lot of quality and a lot of quantity. I just don't think they have the highest of quality. So that's why they're at number five on my list.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you were talking about your franchise player thing, I totally thought you were gonna pull like the Hornets or Magic, which I wouldn't have disagreed with either.
Mm.
But that did surprise me. Then after you said the Rockets, and I was like, I mean, they do have Amen who could be, I think, but I
Yeah.
was definitely expecting you
Well,
to go
the
Hornets and
Rockets just
LaMelo or
have
like Paulo.
they just have so much depth in their young core.
They
I
do.
can't leave them
That's
out,
true. That's true.
All right, bouncing.
Um,
All right, I
Val,
guess
you wanna?
Marvin.
Well, I mean, I had the same one as him. If he wants to break the four
Yeah,
first, I'll let him do that.
go for it.
I got Magic at 4. I
Mm,
think that's pretty self-explanatory, just because
yeah,
they have Franz Wagner, who's already becoming a generational talent for the Orlando Magic, and Markel Fultz, who I still pretty young, and he's getting now to his better days from when he was younger.
yeah.
Mo Wagner, he's all right. They got Bobo, who's Bobo,
No, they don't.
Uh,
Bull
uh,
Bulls in Phoenix. Bull
Oh,
is
I
in
keep
Phoenix.
forgetting that. I keep forgetting that.
yeah. And they got Paulo. They got Chet Howard, Anthony Black, who's probably my favorite player. Uh, in terms of draft
Jalen Suggs, I like
play.
him a lot.
Jalen
I have
Suggs.
Suggs still.
He
Wendell
if he's
Carter Jr.
healthy.
I mean, I guess he's a little older
He's
now, but
older. He's
But
pretty old.
he's
but
like
he
their only big.
but he's the definition of a solid, consistent big.
That's
He
true.
really has everything in his bag.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
I
then not to mention they do have Isaac, who obviously has had his problems, but he is one of those players that when he's on the court, he does very good things for
Yeah,
the team.
I'm with you. Yeah, I mean the Magic are a little bit later on in my list. I absolutely love their young core. I
And
mean
then
they lack shooting, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but they're getting that. Jet Howard.
yeah,
I
yeah.
will say too, I
Jet
did
Howard, I really like.
Suggs is
yeah, I
pretty good.
like
He's
Howard's nice.
locked down now and focus on that.
He just gotta stay healthy.
Yeah, that's his only thing.
What
Yeah,
do you think?
but Admiral Schofield and Kevon Harris on the Magic too. I mean, I don't really know them that much either, but in the summer league they had some very good games too. So who knows if that can maybe translate a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit and help them out too.
don't the match still have RJ Hampton too? He's really good.
No, they don't. They have Chuma Okeke still though.
Where did RJ Hampton end up?
He's in Detroit, I think still.
Oh, that's
He
right.
got traded there last season.
He
Yeah.
got released, I think.
Oh, that's true. I think he got released and picked up.
But I like Okiki a lot though. He's
Yeah,
a
that's
good
pretty.
I
defensive
did too.
player.
He's
Yeah.
nice.
I was really high on him coming out of Auburn, right? Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I think
all
so.
right. Marvin, you want to give your number four?
I can give my number four. Honestly, my three and four were pretty close. But I ended up putting the Cleveland Cavaliers at my four.
Hmm.
They have, I think to your case, they are one of the teams more with, I wouldn't necessarily say one franchise player, but two franchise players in Mobley and Garland. I think if they stick together and they keep building chemistry throughout the years, I think they could be a very good duo to bring a team farther. And then you have Okoro there too, who he's a pretty good defender and he's shown some good offensive flashes too.
Yeah.
Mitchell is still pretty young, but he's kind of getting a bit older now too.
Same with Allen.
Uh yeah, Allen too, Karis LeVert too. So they
But
do have a few guys that are kind of getting into their older years, but overall they could still run with them for a little bit.
in terms of quality of players, I mean, they're up there, near number one, but they just don't have the depth that these other teams have. I
Yeah,
mean, they really only
true.
have, I think,
They,
two
they have like two or three,
star
but they're
young players.
really, really good.
Yeah,
So which separates them from the others. The others have like
Yeah,
mid, but a lot of mid young
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
true.
I mean, Garland and Mobley are going to carry that franchise for years. Hopefully, bring them a
Yeah.
championship. We'll see what happens with Mitchell. I mean, that also kind of worries me. The whole Mitchell wanting to be
Hmm.
in New York, won't sign an extension. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley's fit is kind of funky. There's a lot of question marks in Cleveland.
That's true.
Um, so I mean, obviously the talent is there. We just got to see
Hmm.
if
I
they
don't know if
fit.
you said Amani Bates.
Oh yeah, that's
Money,
true. I didn't,
yeah.
but they do
So
have
They
that
got
Amani
Amani
Bates too.
Bates. He's pretty crazy.
He could
uh,
be a good player for them too.
Isaiah Mobley, Sam Morrell.
He showed pretty good. Yeah, they showed some pretty good flashes in the summer.
Pretty sure Sam Morrell's like 28 though.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard his name for a while, low key, but I'll check here real quick. He's 27.
Oh yeah, and he was
So
a
yeah,
rookie
he's
like 2 years ago. It's craziness.
yeah, that's true. But they have a few guys. They did pick up Damian Jones from Utah too, he's actually 28 too. So they do have a lot more older young guys kind of.
But they got
But
a young team in terms of contending, like
yeah,
of contenders.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, they got a wide window, I should say.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so my number four was also Cleveland. So um it's a solid pick from me. I'll go to my number three. My number three was the Grizzlies. Um,
Okay.
so in terms of young cores, I think this team kind of gets left out a lot just because they're already so successful. But you got John Morant, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson, Zaire Williams kind of fell off the earth a little bit there.
Yeah, he did.
But I mean, even other young guys. I
Unfortunately.
mean, I mean, Marcus Smart is still kind of young. I don't know. I mean, he's in his 20s.
He's
But
29.
yeah, but that young core right there I mean, you got a defensive player of the year, uh, an all-star, future most improved in Desmond Bain. Um, if you watch our
Still
prediction,
got
yeah, you know that.
Jake LaRavia, David Roddy, Kenny
Mhm.
Lofton Jr.
Yeah.
D Rose, he's young, younger
D
than
Rose.
ever.
Yeah.
GG
Um,
Jackson was a pretty good pickup too, I think.
yeah, I love that pick. I mean, he had some character issues coming out, so he
Yeah,
fell a little bit, but he's a talent. And
Yeah,
if
I think
anyone
it's a
had to
steal
deal
for the
with character
Grizzlies.
issues, it's Memphis. So,
that's true. Not necessarily that it helps them out though, but they definitely kind of know how to deal with it.
and I think they've handled the Jaw situation. He'll be hopefully better.
Hopefully, hopefully
We
he
hope.
learned this time.
Yeah. I mean, he's so
After
good.
two times, he should have learned, but he should have learned after the first also. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
it's true.
that's
Yeah.
another story though.
Yeah, but I do like that Grizzlies pick, and I do think you do really like for me, it's not like I didn't like them as a young core. I just didn't think of them as a young core because, like you said,
Yeah.
they've achieved so much already. You almost think they're already older, but they
Yeah.
really do have a lot of youth there. I mean, it's a little older, but it's still 23, 24. Like they're still very young. So I
Mhm.
do give you props for that. Because honestly, I wasn't really thinking about them at all, just because I felt
Yeah.
like they were already so developed that they weren't that young.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess I'll do my number three now. I did the Spurs at number three.
Mm.
You just got Wemby. Obviously, you have Vassell and Keldon Johnson. All very proven. Well, Wemby hasn't technically proven anything yet, but Keldon and Vassell, very proven players. Wemby has his potential and his whole draft thing. So I mean, I honestly don't see him being a bad player. I think he's going to be at the worst of a very good role player, honestly. But you never know.
I don't even
Uh,
think that's
hopefully,
gonna happen. I think
hopefully
worst
he
case
stays
scenario is
healthy.
first steps.
Hopefully he stays exactly. That's true. Hopefully he stays healthy too. That's the other issue. Trey Jones, I mean, he's solid. I wouldn't like. rely on him, or he's definitely not part of the reason why I would say they're a good young core. But
Great,
he's a
great
solid
future
point
backup.
guard. What?
I said he'll be a great future backup.
Yeah, that's true. Zach Collins is only 25, so they got him, Sohan.
Mm.
Branham has shown very good and very bad things.
Who?
Blake Wesley, Dominic Barlow, Champagny is nice.
Yeah. Well, so I didn't.
Blake Wesley, Devontae Graham.
Yeah, Devontae
Yeah,
Graham's
dude.
kind of getting up there though.
Sure,
Uh,
still that.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. The only reason I didn't put them in my top 10 is because I kind of, like I said, at least not yet. They don't have a guy that could elevate their franchise. Wemby obviously could be that guy. I'm just not going to give it to a rookie. Because otherwise the young core, while it's not mid by any means, it is. I mean, I think it's still top 10, but it's it lacks like a
That one
serious
guy.
goals, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Devontae Graham's 28.
Yeah, he's a bit older, but
Valentin, did you give your number three?
no, it's his turn.
No,
Yeah.
I had the OKC Thunder.
Okay.
Uh,
Very valid.
Jay, still pretty young, and he's a top 10 point guard. Uh, what?
I mean, you're only going to give him the top five. I mean, top 10.
Top 10.
I don't think he's top 10.
You don't think he's top five? Okay. Okay.
Um, they have Josh Giddey, who's really good. Get double, triple doubles,
Very
double
young
doubles
too.
without scoring. Lou Dort, he's getting a little bit older, but he's still really young, honestly, I think. He's like,
He's 24. He's younger than Shea.
yeah,
Phew.
I thought he was like 26.
I thought he was older than Shea. Yeah.
No, he's a year younger.
Um, Trey Mann, who's been popping off in the summer league. Ted Holmgren coming off an injury. Usman Jang, who is really, really
J-Dub.
consistent, and
And Jay Will.
That's
yeah,
true.
they just have
Isaiah
so many
Joe's young.
guys. I
Yeah.
could keep going with, and they're all really good, honestly.
I think they're really similar to the Rockets, except obviously they have, in my opinion, a top 10 player. Um, and the Rockets don't have that. Uh, so that I mean, they're a little later on in my list, but so I'll give my number two now. My number two is Orlando. Um, I think Paulo's going to be an MVP type guy. I think Franz Wagner can be the number two. Uh, I mean, one of the best number twos in the league. And then obviously they've gotten great pieces to fill around. Wendell Carter, it's going to be like an Al Horford type.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, if he can, what's the word? Consistent sized? No, that is not the right word. If he
Stay
could get his
consistent.
three to be a little bit more consistent, I mean, he's going to be an Al Horford level guy. And then if they, get some shooting at the two guard spot with Chet Howard, Anthony Black, I'm really high on. I think he could be the future point
Still have
guard.
Cole Anthony. I forgot about him.
Oh, Cole Anthony too, yeah. I mean, he's like the spark plug off the bench guy. I mean, they have so many options.
They do.
I mean, they're still lacking that one true, I think, standout guard. I think Anthony Black will be that guy. But once I mean, I think they'll make a play-in push this year. I mean, possibly even get to the playoffs. I mean, I'm really high on this team.
Did we forget to say Paolo?
No, he
Well,
was
we
the first.
mentioned him earlier.
He was the first guy I mentioned.
Oh yeah, you did. That's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my number two though, I actually picked the Thunder too. They too are kind of like the Grizz, obviously not as much, but they have proven a little bit. They have developed. I also like their draft picks this year, Cason Wallace and Keontae Johnson. I think they're going to be really good for the team as well.
Mhm.
All the things we mentioned with Valentine too, I like those two guys in addition, but I really do think that they are one of the top ones too, just because they're still developing and they're getting really good young pieces. And like I said, not to the extent of the Grizzlies because the Grizzlies were the 3 seed, but they have proven from last season when they won twice as many games as they were expected to and made it to the play and that they have grit and they have that talent to get up there.
Yeah.
And Valentin, who's your two?
The Spurs,
Mm.
mainly because of Victor
Yeah. I
and
mean,
Jeremy Sohan. Honestly, is really good. He's underrated for his talent. Honestly, I also underrated him for his rookie year. I hit it on him in the beginning, and he really proved most people wrong on how good he is. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's kind of what we just said earlier with Marvin when he was talking about Spurs.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you put the Spurs at number one, I can't blame you because Victor is that type of
it's true.
talent. I mean,
Or he could be at least.
he could be. He will be. I mean, unless it's injury, I just don't see a way he becomes like a top five player in the league. Not of all time, just in the league. I mean,
Yeah,
that could happen,
that
but
could happen,
I'm not gonna
but
put that on him.
well, yeah, we're not gonna go that far yet.
I'm
But
excited
yeah,
to
I
hear
mean,
y'all's number ones.
yeah, I mean, but he's a freaking, he's not a unicorn. He's an alien. He's like
Giraffe.
a, a giraffe, a
A
giraffe
flying
with
giraffe with
a
wings.
super coordinated flying giraffe, or a semi-coordinated flying giraffe, because he's still a little
Yeah,
weird.
he's not. I was about to say I wouldn't call him
Yeah,
super coordinated, but he's getting there.
yeah.
Um, and I do like. I mean, considering the fact that it's the Spurs, he might not play till his fifth season. But I do think City Sissoko, who was their later round second pick, I think he has a lot of potential too. Honestly, watching his highlights in the G League, he really looked like he has a very high basketball IQ, and that
Yeah.
he seemed like a very solid role player to me at the
He
least.
he is the epitome of a Spurs guy.
Yeah, he
He
is.
he can make the extra pass. He defends
He
well.
hustles, dude.
He
The
He
hustles.
hustle.
hustles. Yeah,
I mean, I could see him being one of those guys in 10, 15 years where like that's this classic Spurs second round pick that turned into a borderline all-star. I
true.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we'll see how long Pop coaches, but I could
Yeah,
definitely.
and like I said, we'll see how long it takes for him to get real NBA action too, considering he's in San Antonio, unfortunately. They don't normally. I mean, most teams I guess don't, but I feel like the Spurs take even longer with their second round picks to give him actual like minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll also find our ways of playing them and knowing who's really good.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
All right, Marvin, hit us
Moving on, I
number
think.
one.
Yeah.
You want me to say the number one first? I personally think it's pretty obvious, especially considering I haven't heard you guys say them, so I'd be pretty surprised, honestly, if they're not in here. But for me, I put the Pistons at number one. They have so much young talent and so many very talented young guys. You have Cunningham, you have Ivy, you have Duran, you have Wiseman, you have Bagley, you got Asor Thompson, you got Marcus Sasser. I mean, they're literally just, and the only like older guy they have is Bojan Bogdanovic, but everyone else is a young guy. They're still growing. They're still trying to figure things out. But based off like talent, I honestly don't talent and the amount of talent they have in that young uh people. I don't really know what other team honestly really even is super close to that, just because they have so much potential on that team.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even have them on top five. Uh, so obviously the guys are there. I'm not as high on Jaden Ivey as a lot of people are. Initially, I really was, but uh, he he's really reckless on the court, and he not just maybe rookie blues, but we'll see. But
He
also,
was like that in college.
yeah, I mean, Cade, he's been injured a lot, and it just like it's hard for me to put him in the top five when these other teams I think deeper cores, and Duran I think is probably their best performing young player last year. I mean, in terms of his defensive and offensive impact.
It's fair. So who
Valentin?
wants to? Valentine, you want to? What's your number one? Valentine?
A tie. You know, it was between the Pacers and the Pistons. Pacers because they have Tyrese Halliburton, who is just insanely good, and uh, they have I'm blanking, guys. Jerice Walker, who looks like he'll be very high, talented with Miles Turner. Buddy Hield's still pretty young, I think.
Oh, he's going into his eighth season.
Well, we counted the other guys that were 28, pretty young
That's
too.
true.
So I don't know. I just think those like three, especially Neesmith, those are all just like super talented guys, which like just makes them up there on that list so high because of how good they are and still how young they are.
So Buddy Hield is 30. I don't know if we're gonna put that on the young side or not.
Well,
30? I thought
Yeah.
it was 28.
I thought he was a lot younger too. I guess no, he was a senior coming out, I guess. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
They do
true.
have Matherin too, though. He's a very good young
Yeah,
guy.
Ben Mather.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking of,
My,
Mather.
my, I mean, so he's going to be off the bench again this year. I just don't
Oh
want him
yeah, I
to
think so.
become. I just don't want him to become like the bench guy. You know, I think he has a higher ceiling than that.
I think what I could see happening with him is he's gonna be kind of in the Tyler Hero situation. He'll be sixth man for a little bit and eventually be like, guys, I want to start. And he'll have the talent that they're like, okay, that's fine, we'll start you. I
Yeah,
could see that happening with him. But
I think
the
whenever
other,
Bucky's contract is up, I think
oh yeah,
they'll
exactly.
probably move Matherin into the
Yeah, but
start.
the other two young guys that you guys didn't mention that they have two that I like is Nemhard and Isaiah Jackson. I think they both have a lot of potential as well. We saw Nemhard last season. He was balling on both sides of the floor. Isaiah Jackson, he doesn't get too much playing time, but he's very effective on the defensive end. His offense could still improve, but I see him being a at least solid center for them. If Turner ever leaves or anything like that, I think he's a very good backup, at least
Uh,
for right now.
I also got
Another
Jalen Smith and Isaiah Wong, bro. Isaiah Wong, I think, is
out of
gonna be a
Miami.
very talented player, man. He's from
Yeah.
Miami. He's 22, point guard. But I think they could use a nice backup point guard instead of TJ McConnell because TJ McConnell's getting pretty old.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think Isaiah Wong's gonna take that step.
Yeah, a guy that both of you failed to mention that I think will be at the end of the year the starting four is Obi Toppin. And limited minutes with the Knicks. He was very impressive, especially in the playoffs. I know you guys don't like my Obi Toppin uh obsession, but he's going to be good, guys.
Also, I love how we call Buddy Hield young. He's 30. TJ McConnell's old. He's 31.
That's how it
Just
works.
just,
Well, we
just
also
That's
putting
the
those
thought
difference
ages
Buddy
out
Hield
between
was
there.
28.
5'11" and 6 foot, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
We also thought Buddy Hield was 28. We
That's
never
true
said he was
too.
young after
I
he
just thought it was
tested the
kind
way
of
he
funny
said.
though when I saw the ages,
Yeah.
how
All
we
right.
think of players in certain ways sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, my number one was kind of between two teams. It was Indiana and OKC. OKC took it from me because they have, I think, the best player out of any players we mentioned, and Shea.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you got J-Dub, Giddy, two. I mean, I think J-Dub has, I think, the second most potential on that team to be an all-star just because he's good at everything. If he could improve his 3-point uh
Numbers.
volume, then
Oh,
I think
volume.
yeah, I think he could be a 24 point per game guy with good defense. But and then yeah, Giddy, solid playmaker, the big Ricky Rubio. Um, I mean Chet, hopefully he could stay healthy. I mean
True.
I think they got a lot of guys that are freaks of nature. Um, Usman Jang, and then obviously another thing that does it for me is the large collection of draft picks they still have. I mean, they still have the most, or maybe Utah has the most, but I don't know. They still have close to the most in the league.
I'm pretty sure they still have the most. I don't think Utah is actually. I mean, they're probably somewhere over there, but
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
we've
know they
kind of
just got a
already said
ton.
why OKC is just high up. in this list.
So then,
So I do want to just mention one thing with the three pointers that you said. So you were saying you want J-Dub to have a higher volume of three pointers, right? But the kind of ironic thing is he actually shoots more three pointers a game than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander does.
well, I want Shea to increase his volume too. So, well, but the thing about Shea is also he's a 30 point per game scorer without shooting many
That's
threes.
true.
So you can't really,
31 points even, but
yeah, you
that's
can't
true.
really argue. But
He's a midi, a floater layup guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
He loves those middies.
yeah,
if you look at the numbers though, J-Dub in scoring numbers and like percentages is very similar
oh yeah,
to Shea though. He just doesn't shoot as much in
yeah.
general because his field goal percentage is 52 and Shea's is 51. So they're shooting the same field goal percentage.
Yeah, and coming to the year, J-Dub shot horribly from three. I think he was 27 through like the first month of his rookie year. And then later on in the season, like I think it was his last like 25 games, he shot 44% from three. So clearly there was progress made, and I think
Hmm.
that progress will carry on through his to his sophomore year.
Yeah.
Um also him and Cade, I heard, were two of the main guys that were uh difference makers on like the USA select team
Oh,
um when they beat the actual team. But
yeah.
I mean that's
So
just a scrimmage, so but still.
yeah. So interesting with the numbers that you were saying, right? So J-Dub, and we're gonna say the first month was November because there's only two games in October for them.
Yeah,
So in November, he shot 29.3%.
yeah.
In April, which was actually his second best three-point shooting percentage, he shot 40%, but his shooting was really good in March. I don't know what he did in March, but he shot 46% from three in March with like the same amount of shots.
I think that's also when OKC started like really climbing the standings too. So
Probably, but yeah, those last two, well, even though I guess technically March is because April only had three games, so I guess
yeah,
technically March is their last one. So he ended with 46% in that sense, if we want to pull
yeah.
those.
I mean
So
if
yeah, he
he could
definitely improved.
carry over like 40% shooting to next year,
Hmm.
it's going to be a huge difference
Oh yeah.
maker. I mean, because the trouble with OKC is their backcourt and Shea and Giddy. I mean, they could get to the hole as much as they want,
Hmm.
but they can. They're both they both struggle from the 3 point line, or not. Shea doesn't struggle; he just doesn't
He just
shoot
doesn't
a
shoot.
lot. Yeah.
Well,
Um.
I think honestly, besides like Joe and you can throw in Usman and like Waters, but they don't play much. They
Yeah.
really don't have like
Yeah.
volume shooters.
Well, that's why it's important, at least to me, so for J Dub to shoot 40+% from three and be reliable from there. Because
That's true.
like if Shea and Giddy can get us to like 37%, they're still gonna need other guys that could uh you know shoot the ball. And assuming Chet gets back to his prolific shooting that he showed in college, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
And even Dort too, he struggles from the 3 point line. Or he was fine from the 3 point line, but
But he does
not,
struggle every once in a while too. If he could
yeah,
find a more consistent rhythm to where you
yeah.
kind of know, that would help out.
I think he shot like what 38% last year and like 33%
Something
from
like
three.
that.
I mean, he is inconsistent.
Last season he shot 33%. That's kind of his career number, though. He's always kind of so I guess
But from the
like
field, he shot
season.
38. Anyway,
Oh yeah, from the field he shot 38.8, but from three-pointer he shot 33, and his career average in four seasons is 33.2.
yeah.
So in that sense he's pretty consistent, but by game he's very
Yeah.
inconsistent.
Because there's games where he makes like 6 or 7,
He's
and
like 6 for 6, and then next game he's
yeah,
0 for 7.
yeah.
So
I mean, in the
Yeah.
play-in, we saw that he was on fire from three in the 2 games.
yeah, 15%, that's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, okay. I mean, just like Orlando, I mean, there are two teams that I'm highest on, and Indiana, of course. But Indiana, I think, is further along than Orlando is.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
I
They
mean, they have,
also have more age too, I think.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But I mean, Miles Turner, is an impactful vet,
Hmm.
more impactful than any vet that Detroit has. But
Yeah, I mean, like I said though, Detroit honestly doesn't. I mean, their only vet is really Bojan
Yeah,
Bogdanovic, and that's it. And that's one of the main reasons. Like, I mean, one of the main reasons I really put them as number one is just because of sheer age. Like, they just have
yeah.
young guys. So,
I mean, if Cade can stay healthy, I mean, and play to his full potential, and then
and
you
then
got
a sore Thompson too. Like
Isaiah Thompson.
that
Yeah,
right there is already sounds really scary to me, honestly.
I don't think they'll. I think they could be like this season's Orlando in terms of they were like kind of inching towards that playing spot, didn't quite get there, and then maybe the year after they could take that final leap and get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
I
I could definitely
like you
see
said,
them.
I think they got a lot of youth and not enough vets, and I just don't think they could quite get there unless Cade has and like an All NBA season.
Which
But
he definitely can, because from the
yeah,
few games that he's played, his numbers are insane.
I mean yeah, he's a special talent. He just got to stay
Hmm.
on the floor. And
Yeah.
if and kind of like with Indiana, Indiana was kind of there. Tyrese got injured for a little bit, and then they started kind of just pulling players, going all
Hmm.
in to the tank. So you know, if there's like injuries that here and there, are they going to be able to sustain their production without Cade? And so then will they keep Cade playing?
Yeah, but I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but honestly, I think we all have a pretty similar top three with the Pacers, the Thunder, and the Pistons, all as very likely at least top three potential, just in the sense of, I mean,
Yeah,
like you were saying, right? You guys didn't have the Pistons, but you both kind of saw what I was saying. I didn't
for
have the
sure.
Pacers on mine, but I did think about them too. I just kind of was like, I don't know. I don't feel like they have enough.
I had the Pistons tied with the Pacers at one.
Oh,
Oh
that's true, yeah.
yeah,
And then Deacon seems like he kind of. So I think we have a
yeah. I didn't have the
pretty
Pistons in my top five, but
agreed with on top three, though, I think.
I just struggle with the Pistons because I mean I think Jalen Duren, Azor Thompson, and Cade Cunningham are great foundational players, but otherwise I struggle to find players that I really feel like can be those guys. I mean
Yeah.
I think Ivy if he
Yeah, but
I
I feel like
don't
if
know
you
how
have
well
those
he
three
played.
main guys, everyone else just falls to a role player, and I think they have. I think they have that.
Yeah. Well, but
Wiseman.
two of the three main guys are still very raw. So it's kind
It's
of,
true.
yeah. All right. Well, great discussion. Uh, thank you guys for watching. Drop a comment. Give us your top five. Check
Let
out
us
the
know your top one. Even you don't have to make a whole five. Just let us know your favorites or some of your most liked young cores.
Yep.
See you guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.